Have you ever wondered why your cat practically screams at your husband when he walks in?
But then just gives you a silent, loving headbutt. Yeah, it turns out your pet might actually be profiling you.
Welcome back to What the Study Says. I'm Dr. Kai.
And I'm Dr. May. Since we're both doctors who spend our days, digging directly into behavioral data, today we're doing a deep dive into this brilliant 2025 study from the journal Ethology.
Right, the one where the researchers wanted to decode the hidden logic behind exactly what your feline friend is, like actually communicating when you walk through the door.
Exactly. And to capture this without altering the cat's behavior, they actually strapped chest-mounted cameras onto the caregivers of 31 cats.
Oh, wow, like little body cams for cat owners.
Yeah, pretty much. They recorded the very first 100 seconds of an owner returning to their natural home environment.
Just 100 seconds.
Just the first 100 seconds.
Right.
And they tracked 22 specific behavioral measures, looking at everything from ear positioning to vocalizations.
And looking at all that footage, a really striking demographic split emerged, right?
It really did. So the standout finding was that cats vocalize significantly more toward male caregivers.
Which is wild. I mean, it's almost like talking to someone wearing noise-canceling headphones.
How do you mean?
Well, you instinctively raise your voice because you know they aren't picking up on your subtler physical cues. So are the cats realizing the men just aren't catching those quiet signals?
That is actually the leading theory here. Because this study took place in Turkey, the researchers pointed out that cultural gender roles, specifically regarding male emotional restriction, likely play a part.
Oh, so the men might just be less expressive when they walk in.
Exactly. The data suggests female owners generally mimic and interpret cat vocalizations more readily, which creates this quick feedback loop.
So if men are less verbally interactive upon entering the home, the cat literally has to, turn up the volume to prompt a response.
Yeah, they learn through trial and error that subtle just doesn't work.
Okay, but if meowing is essentially a tactical volume dial, what about all the non-vocal physical behaviors? I mean, I know the obvious ones.
Like rubbing on the legs or the tail straight up like an antenna.
Yeah, exactly. But if those make up the standard friendly greeting, what else is happening in that first 100 seconds?
Well, that classic greeting is what they categorize as the affiliative cluster. But the researchers identified a second, entirely distinct category called the displacement cluster.
Wait, displacement, what does that look like?
It includes actions like yawning, full body shaking, self-licking, and self-scratching right as you walk in.
Wait, scratching and yawning. I mean, usually if someone yawns when I walk in the room, they're bored of me not saying hello.
Right, it definitely looks dismissive to us. But in animal psychology, displacement behaviors are actually vital coping mechanisms.
Coping mechanisms for what?
Well, when you get home, your cat experiences a massive sudden spike in physiological arousal, and that's combined with the residual stress of separation.
Oh, I see. Just like a human might click a pen or pace around the room to bleed off nervous energy before a big meeting.
Precisely. Grooming or yawning helps the cat physically reset their nervous system. It diffuses that intense surge of emotional energy so they don't get completely overwhelmed by your arrival.
That is fascinating. I mean, if a cat is putting this much physiological effort into managing their emotional stress and, tactically altering their volume to connect with us, it really challenges that cynical view.
Which view is that?
The one where people say cats just see us as giant walking can openers?
Oh, absolutely. And the data strongly refutes that view. The researchers tracked whether the cats were fed immediately after the owner returned.
And what did they find?
They found that food-related behaviors did not correlate at all with these complex greeting clusters. They're genuinely happy to see you.
Meaning the intensity of the greeting, the meowing, the leg rubbing, the coping mechanisms, none of that spiked just because it was dinner time.
Right. Even when food wasn't part of the immediate equation, the cats were still performing these elaborate multimodal greetings. The social bonding, the physical presence of the owner provides its own psychological reward.
The interaction itself is the prize. So ultimately, cat greetings are highly complex, customized social interactions.
Yeah, they aren't running on some generic hardwired autopilot program. They are actively reading the room, analyzing the specific human walking through the door, and adjusting their approach.
Which leaves us with a truly fascinating implication for you to ponder. If domestic cats are actively adjusting their communication style based on something as abstract as human cultural gender norms, what other subtle human psychological quirks are our pets quietly adapting to?
A brilliant question to leave you with. Your pet is definitely taking notes on you right now.
They really are. Thank you for joining us for this deep dive. Please subscribe and share the channel, What the Study Says, so we can keep exploring the science behind the everyday together.